Hari Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Sri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopa Karotam Pravaram Muninam Patanjali Pranjalina Natosmi. Hari Om. We are in the last shloka of Kaivalya Pada of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The yogi who has done so much of sadhana and has ascended slowly upwards towards the higher realms of consciousness is now facing the ultimate test of his sadhana. He has already reached the doors. It is just the opening of the door and the journey ends. He has made the Tama and the Rajaguna to its almost zero level, almost destroyed, almost remaining there by streak. Now, the unsurmountable difficulty is to bring down the sattva to the level of annihilation. The darkness was dispelled. The smoke of Rajaguna was dispelled. Now the glass that is showing the light, yet it is not the light, has to be shattered, and then there will be a vision of the light. It is the Sattva Guna that gives the glimpse of the ultimate reality, yet it is a light that is seen through a thin veil or a glass. Sattva is a pure, clean glass. Howsoever clean it may be, howsoever desirable it may be to see the light, it needs to be destroyed to have the direct darshanam of the flame. The time when yogi arrives at the door of this penultimate movement, the whole cosmos is known to him. He knows each and everything under the cosmos. What is remaining is to know that he is not the cosmos. The universe, in its all totality, is clearly and vividly seen by him as the interplay of gunas. Now the universe is seen by him in a completely different picture. There are no more forms and names. There's only the continuous flux of movement, a continuous movement of energy, at times getting concentrated in the form of a mass, assuming the nama and the rupa, again sublimating into the energy form, the mass and the energy. The entire system, the entropy, enthalpy, is all perceived by him like a thing in a closed box. He's sitting at a point where he's able to visualize everything that is happening in the universe instantaneously, and all is seen as just the change or the flux of state. He comes to know that nothing is stationary in this world. Nothing. Neither the mountains, nor the rivers, nor the human beings, nor the animals, nor the plants, nor the wind, nor the earth, the Pancha Mahabhutas itself. Everything is nothing else but the gunas, the sattva, rajatama, in different proportion with billions of probabilities, permutations, and combinations happening right in front of his eyes and getting them changed. He knows where it started. He knows what's happening now. He knows what's going to happen in the future. So he is able to be Trikala Jnani. The question is, till this point, there is a yogi on one side, maybe as powerful as Ishvara, and the universe on the other side. But still there is a Dvaita. Why? Because there is an observer, an experiencer. Maybe this experience is not through the normal modalities of senses. But mind well, it is an experience. As long as there is an experience, you are in the state of Prakriti. And the Kaivalya is going beyond Prakriti. So the penultimate stage where the yogi is prepared for the final assault, the final jump, is to go out of the Prakriti and not see the universe, the Prakriti, as an observer or experiencer, but be out of the Prakriti and yet become the Prakriti. When you become and when you be, there is a difference. Become is a transformation. To be is the state. So when you transcend the Prakriti remains where it is, yet there is no separation between the Prakriti and the one who is beyond the Prakriti. So Prakriti appears to be a part and parcel of himself, yet he is different than it, because he has transcended it. The cryptic clues given in Bhagavad Gita by Bhagavan, saying that I am in the heart of everyone, yet I am not in them. Apparently, a contradictory statement now comes true. How you can be away from somebody and yet you be that somebody is explained here. The reason why we are not able to fathom this statement that I am into everything and I'm away from it is simply because we are only used to one static condition, that me and they. It is either one or two. We do not know a third condition where I am myself, yet I am with the other, yet the other is me, and yet both are one. Why is it so? It is so because our intellect, the buddhi, has not expanded enough to even entertain a theoretical possibility of being away and being with at the same time. Think about it. If I say that is water, I definitely know I am not the water. At the same time, if I say I am the water, then I cannot be I because I am the water. So I am the water, yet I am not the water. I and water are same. A complete contradiction in the statements itself. What appears to be a lunatic statement, a mad person statement in our world, is a truth when it comes to transcendental reality, because in a transcendental reality, the relationship of subject and object is gone. We are coming to a crux, we are coming to the final knot, we are coming to a final dilemma, we are coming to a final $1 million question, and the question is, the universe became the subject and object when? I am the observer, and there's something to be observed. I am the subject, and there is an object. This relationship came into existence when? When did this happen? This happened when the universal consciousness, in its evolution, came to a point and the ego was born, the ahankar was born. The ahankar or ego is nothing else but the concept of separation between object and subject. Now, it all started as one. It all started as one. There's no doubt about it. It is one and then many. It's not many and many. Can't be. Logically absurd. Tarka viruddha. It is one into me. Eko ham bahusyami. One becoming many. This one, when it became many, and I as an individual also came from that one, but I don't know the one now. I came from that one, call it Brahman, call it Purusha, call it consciousness, call it Prakriti, call it whatever it is, I came from one. This one evolved over a period of time. That is what the single largest contribution of the Rishis of Sankhya philosophy is. How the world has evolved. An absolute systemic, perfect precision, full exercise they did to know how one became many. The Prakriti Udbhava, the Sarjanata, Srujamyaham, how one became many. While the one was becoming many, in the initial stage, there was no differentiation. When there is no differentiation at the stage of Pradhan or Mahat Tattva, there was no differentiation. When there is no differentiation, where is the object and the subject? It is impossible for us to even imagine a world where there are no objects and there is no subject. Can we imagine it? The brain will shatter. The intellect completely gets paralyzed. To even imagine the single largest power that we have as a human being is imagination. Mind well, it is imagination that brought Einstein into theory of relativity, then substantiated with all other things. A powerful imagination. Even now, what are we doing in sadhana? Sadhana is nothing else but imagining and focusing on the imagination to reach the reality of the imagination. Have you seen Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva? I have not seen it. You have not seen it. Do you really know where exactly Gurudeva went? What state was in? No, we imagine. Imagine with faith in the heart. Shraddha Yukta Kalpana. That's the beginning of all sadhanas. But even that imagination is completely paralyzed when you try to think a world which is without subject and without object. How it can be? A thing is existing. It is existing, but there is no object and subject relationship. What will be that kind of vision? Will there be a vision? Will it be called a knowledge? Because without subject and object, the knowledge cannot be there. Then what is there? What is there when everything around is one? Everything is around. There's no name. There's no shape. Because there's no object. And then a catastrophic event happens. The birth of ahankar or the ego. The moment the ego comes, that whole one is now shattered into billions of pieces called individuality. A one has become individual, universal and individual. That is the issue. That is the crux of the problem. That is what the start of the Prakriti Anubhava is concerned. Even today, if you look at the universe, the stars, the exploding galaxies, the vastness of the earth and the galaxy, we all feel very small, infinitesimally small. An absolute minutest particle is what we feel. We feel small. But we come from that big one. Why do we feel small? That is because it's not only that one became many in quantity, there is also qualitative reflection, qualitative aberration. That is why the one, when it became many, those many should also carry the potentiality of God. They don't. The one was God, the one was almighty, the one was all powerful. But those many that were born to it are not. They are limited. Sant, Alpausha, it's called Alpausha. The Jiva is called Alpausha. They're minute particles, and we do not have that capacity, which is called Vaibhava. He is Bhagavan. We are Abhagi. So there is a change when one becomes many. One is creation of ego, ahankar, first problem. Second problem is we do not carry the same amount of almightiness, all-knowledgeness power of that one into us. So we become limited, restricted, upadhi. And then down the line, everything happens as a tragedy. Then there are Panchamahabhutas, Ashtada, Prakriti, subject, object, because moment the ahankar is born, there is born a relationship. What is mind? What is ahankar? What is mind at all? Mind is nothing else but the day object and subject feeling got created, mind was born. There cannot be mind if there is no subject and object. Very critical statement. Mind gets born instantaneously when there is subject and object relationship, observer and the observation. And then what is the yogi doing all these days? When he was doing sadhana to get back, now this is the descendants we saw, to get back, what is he doing? He is trying to continuously do an exercise whereby he wants to obliterate this subject and object relationship by focusing on the object, so that there is no subject, no object, only object and subject become one. When object and subject become one, mind dies. It's a systematic assault on the mind. Is it the systematic assault on the mind? Because mind is, there is no permanent presence for the mind. Mind is there when subject and object is there. So I want to really get rid of my mind. I want to control my mind. I want to conquer my mind. Sir, you don't do anything because there's nothing tangible called mind. Mind is an instantaneous production that happens. It is happening continuously, so we feel it is constant. It is not so. Mind is a bastard product of unfortunate union between subject and object. So what do you do in sadhana? In sadhana, what you do is just go close to the object. Only one object. There are multiple objects. Leave them. No, but my mind goes here, there. The mind is not going. You as a subject, you are wavering between different objects. When you waver between different objects, you are in the Rajoguna. But I don't feel like thinking about all this. You are in complete Tamoguna. So come to Raja from the Tama, and when you're in Rajoguna, you realize that I am wavering as in subject and moving from object to object. Start reducing the objects into consideration. In the field of your knowledge, don't bring too many objects. This is precisely what Vairagya is. Once you know which object, because you may select perhaps LED as an object, then there is absence of Viveka. Viveka Yukta Vairagya means select an object which can lead you to the moksha or the kaivalya, that is Viveka. Select an object, start focusing on it, which is called Sanyama, communion. Sanyama, dhyana, dharana, samadhi on the object. And what will happen? The subject will slowly get absorbed into the consciousness of the object. The distance between the subject and the object will become less and less and less and less and less. And one day, one moment, like the Buddha moment under the sal tree when he was in meditation, for all the rishis, the moment happens, it dawns. The golden moment, the Hiranyakshana, the time when subject becomes the object or the subject and object, the difference is obliterated. That is the time ego is dissolved. When ego is dissolved, you're coming back from the differentiation of gunas up to the ahankara is complete. And now, this is the point which is there under these last three sutras. The yogi traced the way he went down, slowly came upwards, 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 and resolved himself into the object of meditation through Sanyama and succeeded in annihilating his ego ahankara. When ahankara is dissolved, there is no subject and object relationship left in this world. Now imagine, again imagine, we have nothing else but imagination in our hand. Imagine, there is no object in this world. How will it look? It can't look because there is no subject. But what would be the situation when there is no object in the world and there is no subject? It's all vacant, void, blank. Dark, black, blank, huge, void. Exactly this is what happened to Buddhism. The Buddhist people came up to this point and said that that's it. There's nothing left in this world. So what is the truth in the world? Void, shunya. This is precisely where the Astik darshanas, all the Astik Shad darshanas, including Advaita Vedanta, Yoga, Sankhya, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purvamimamsa also, they went beyond this point. They said, no, it's not dark and void or something. It's much more than that. A brilliant, vibrant, blissful. Then the question came, blissful of what? Truthful of what? Powerful of what? Knowledgeable of what? And that's when, moment you say, of what? Again, the subject-object relationship comes, which has already ended. Since it has ended, The state that you are in, the yogi is in after this point is, yes, he is knowledge. Yes, he is truth. Yes, he is bliss, but nothing of he himself, it itself, that self, undifferentiated, continuous, unique, solitary presence of truth, knowledge, and bliss. These are the closest words that we can describe it, because these words are also not applicable at all. Sadrusham, like this you can say, Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham, not Gagana, Gagana Sadrusham. So the yogi, when he's coming back from his height of Sanyama, he reaches a point where on the way going out of the Prakriti, at the last point, he realizes he has become Ishvara, because he has all the things that the Ishvara has, but actually he is moving beyond Ishvara. Because Ishvara's presence is till the time the Prakriti is there. Maya is there, so Ishvara is there. Now Maya is about to be transcended. He is at the tip of the periphery from where he is now going to jump into unknown. At that point of time, he has Ishvara Shakti in him. The point of that minutest point, when he is about to leave his feet from the last pedestal of this Prakriti, he suddenly realizes the whole secret of the key of the universe. It dawns upon him everything in the universe like the rain that is coming from the cloud. He is supposed to be in the penultimate stage of going to the ultimate stage called Dharma Megha Samadhi. There is nothing left in this world to be known, to be enjoyed, to be seen, to be whatever. The whole universe is at his feet now. Now that he is leaving the Prakriti, the poor gunas are coming and asking him, what do I do? You are leaving. So far, I was the one who was controlling you as a guna. Now you are leaving. So when he is leaving, his gunas are left behind. But where is he going? Before seeing where is he going, we must know where the gunas go. Because the gunas, like the snakes, they had caught this gentleman. He is now, the yogi is out of his control, out of the grip of the snakes, 3 snakes called Sattva, Raja, Tama. Where do they go? The guna realize that they are no more in a position to bind this gentleman, this individual yogi. So they retire because of krutarthata. The work is over. This man can no more be bound by me. And mind well, binding by gunas meaning you are in Prakriti, not bound by the guna means you are beyond the Prakriti. So the 32nd Sutra says, Tataha krutarthanam parinama krama samaptir gunam. Krutarthanam, guna have become krutartha. There is nothing to be done now. So gunas retire. How do they retire? Parinama krama samapti. What is parinama krama samapti? This is the master key of Sankhyan philosophy. What is this entire world? If it is asked in one statement, we can say it is parinama krama. What is parinama krama? There is a time t1, then there is time t0, and then there is time T2. T1 is past, T2 is future, T0 is our present. Now the question is, if something is constantly changing, this finger of mine is constantly under change. I can't say that is my problem, but frankly speaking, factually, this is constantly under change. So when I see this finger, which finger do I see? The finger of the past or the finger of the future or the finger of the present? Let's take example of the Buddhist example, a very nice example of a flame, of a lamp. The flame of a lamp, when we'll see at it, there is a constant flame. But the flame is never constant. One flame is dying, another flame is coming, the third flame is dying, the fourth flame is coming. There is a continuous movement. It appears continuous. That's because of our problem. If there's a constant change that is happening, that means there is constant parinam. Parinam, effect manifesting, effect manifesting, effect manifesting. So there is no way in this world that present can be caught. Look at the irony of our life. We say we are living in present. There is no present. If everything is changing, then there can be only two things we can say with certainty, that it was and it will be. It is cannot be said, because the moment you say is, it has moved. All this is sounding very familiar to the people with engineering background. We are talking about quantum mechanics. The Heisenberg principle of uncertainty, or the Schrodinger's principle, they all point towards this uncertainty. Even now, the current state of physics, it's arrested at this point. It is not moving beyond this point. And mind well, it is all by imagination and theoretical physics that this is proved. There is no practical application, in the sense that it is demonstrable by mathematics or theoretical physics, but it cannot be demonstrated by observation, because observation, the sensuous application of senses is not possible at this stage. It is supra-sensuous experience. That is what precisely the yogis did with the sanyama, or the concentration. As they say, the subatomic particles at the minutest level, you cannot say where they are. You can perhaps give a probability of its presence because of its enormous speed and a continuous movement. This is precisely what parinama krama is. At the microscopic level, gunas appear in the form of absolute small particles, subatomic particles. That is precisely what Vaisheshika Tattvajnana is talking about, which it calls as Trainyuka, Dvainyuka, Anu. The minutest particle. That is the minutest visible manifestation of change. It's here, it's here. That's what you can say. Right now where it is, you can't say. It was here, it will be here. That's maximum. If this is the case, then this parinama krama is nothing else but the universe. This moment parinama krama becomes samapta for the gunas, for this yogi. In moment this parinama krama samapti happens, a great thing happens. And what is the great thing? Between the two effects, between the two parinama, time is born. What is time? There's nothing called time in this world. Time is a relative perception. Relative to what? A thing and a B thing. Then the time gets created. Between A and B, there is time. That means between two events, there is time. There is nothing called time separate. There are only events. The calibration of events from point to point gives birth to the time. And when this krama, sequence, krama, of events is over, goes without saying that the time is over. Parinama krama samaptir gunam krutarthanam. Gunas cannot have any effect anymore. That is called samyavastha. Sattva rajatama inequality. Nothing is possible, no manifestation. It is avyakta. Movement, it is imbalanced. Events are formed. Events give rise to time as a component. This is called transcending time, transcending event, transcending prakriti, and reaching the transcendental reality. This is called jumping out of the skin. Jumping out of the skin. Going beyond prakriti. So for that, movement of asampradnyat samadhi, because so far there are samadhis. Now samadhi is also gone. Why? Where is the yogi? The yogi is no more existing. Existence is universe. Existence is prakriti. He's gone beyond existence. Then what kind of existence is that which is beyond the normal prakriti existence? That is all-pervading existence. So one thing that is critical in Sankhya philosophy is gunas are always there. So gunas are nitya, but we always say Atman is nitya, Purusha is nitya. There is a difference in the nityatva. Gunas are always there by change. That is called parinama nityatva. Will gunas ever go out of this world? They will never go out of this world. Why? They are the world. Guna is called parinama nityatva. By virtue of a constant change, gunas are always there. What it means? When there is no change, gunas will not be there. So gunas are parinama nityatva and Purusha is kutastha nityatva, non-changing reality and changing reality. We are coming to a very, very close question of universal philosophical dilemma in Indian philosophy. Is this world true or no? Is this world true or no? Because it is made up of gunas. Gunas are parinama nityatva. That means they are always there. That means they are truth. But they are truth by change. So as long as change is there, they are true. But in case of Purusha, it is parinama nityatva. It is kutastha nityatva. That is why when the question is asked to us, is the samsara true or not? Is the world true or not? Is it satya or not? Shankaracharya said it is mithya. He didn't say it is untrue. Untrue and mithya are different. He said mithya means it is not true but appears true. It is true till the time it is proved to be untrue. That is why the answer to the question whether the world is true or false cannot be given by one statement. It is not ekantato, it is ekantato avachaniya. It is vibhajya vachaniya. It has to be told by two statements, not one statement. And what is the two statements? Samsara is nitya for the one who is not a yogi or the realized one, and it is anitya for the realized one. How it is anitya for a realized one? The one who transcends the prakriti knows that this is not existing. Remember at what level Gaudapada was there. His Siddhanta of Ajatavad is difficult to fathom in this brain simply because he was talking from the point of view of out of this Prakriti. Only the grown-up man can look at the children and say that this is not a true game, it is children's game. The child cannot say it because he's the part of it. For the child, the game is Satya. So is it not Satya? It is. Till the time he is child, he becomes an addict, it becomes a game. It is not existing. It is false. It is Vivarta. It is never born. Because at that stage, even the birth of universe is considered to be an infructuous thing. Now we will understand when the yogi transcends the guna, transcends the prakriti, then he sits at a place where he is able to, now we can't use the word perceive, cognize, that's all to the prakriti. He is beyond prakriti. First of all, the one who has gone beyond prakriti, one who has reached moksha, kaivalya, we cannot describe his sthiti. Why? Description is a part of prakriti, is a part of this box. How can you describe out of box thing by using things that are in the box? This tato vacha, the speech returns back. Why? Can't describe. Now the question is, gunas have retired to their original position in samyavastha because they are krutartha for this individual. So from the huge ocean of prakriti, one gentleman has come up and crossed the ocean, left the ocean. The rest of the ocean is continuing. So gunas cannot end by themselves. They end only for this particular individual because he is no more an individual. The way to become universal for an individual is to be universe. Think about the statement. The way to become universal for an individual is to become the universe. That's what the last step is. Then, so far the individualistic experiences like us, the sensuous experience, etc., was given by whom? Through the senses, through the mind. It was the Purusha who was giving these experiences. Purusha by himself was not into this experience because he's neutral. But because of his presence, because of the sunlight, the mirror was enjoying the lighting of different objects. Now, the mirror is gone. When the mirror is gone, what happens to the light? The light is there in the original shape. First of all, it never came down. It appeared to have come down because of the mirror called the mind, and then everything was reflected light. When the mirror itself is gone, the reflected light is gone, then what remains? Only the sunlight remains. Why? It was always there. So now the Purusha has no artha. Purushartha is not there. What is Purusha's artha? To give bhoga and apavarga. Bhoga means sensuous enjoyment. Apavarga means complete absence of sense enjoyment. Either you are enjoying the world or you are out of the world through vairagya. Both are gone. That is why the 34th sutra says, Purushartha shunyanam gunanam prati prasavaha. Gunas have gone back. Prasava, going down. Anulom. Now pratilom. Prati prasavaha kaivalya swaswarupa pratishtha va chiti shaktir iti. What has happened? Gunas have gone to swaswarupa pratishtha, their own thing. Now, when gunas go to their abode and become samyavastha or go to their own thing, then what happens to the Purusha? The Purusha is no more involved in the experiences of this particular Prakriti. So the consciousness again regains back into the consciousness. Chittir Shaktihi iti. So consciousness not getting involved into the worldly experiences and becoming only consciousness, or guna coming back and getting established into their own abode, both are Kaivalya. Now we understand seeing Purusha separate and Prakriti separate means what? Guna coming back into their own Swaswarupa Pratishtha, and simultaneously the light being withdrawn and then sun becoming sun. And now sun doesn't become sun. Sun was sun. This is called Kaivalya. Tasmat na badhyate, na muchyate, na api sansarati kaschit sansarati badhyate muchyate na namashrayaha prakriti. No more gunas are working. No form, no shape, no birth, no death, no pain, no happiness, no sorrow, no this, no that, no that, no that, yes, that, no that, nothing. Nafi aspat. Dvandvai. Present and absent. These are relative characteristics. It is neither present nor absent is the real thing. Because the moment you say present, absent has to be there. Dvandva. I am there. I am there means I was not here. Only I am is difficult to imagine. Our immediate question, because of our limited experience, is I am where? There or here? Kutra asti? Atra? Vatatra? Here or there? Why? Everything we have is based on dvandva. Two. Chaya atapa. Shadow, light. Dukha, sukha. Jnana, ajnana. Oh, you mean to say the person who has reached this stage is jnani? He is not jnani. Then he is ajnani? No, he is not ajnani. Oh, you mean to say he's every time happy? No. Oh, that means he is every time unhappy? No. Then if he is not this, if he is not, who is he? What is, that is exactly the problem. You are trying to clean your hands by dirt. Every time you apply some dirt and see whether the hands are clean or not. Sir, you are applying wrong thing to clean the hand. So you are applying wrong parameters to know him, the ultimate truth. Your characters are like dirt. They will never give you any explanation about him or that ultimate state, simply because the ultimate state cannot be described by that which is within the Prakriti. It can only be perhaps indicated by negation. That is why very cleverly Yogeshwar Krishna used the word to Arjuna, Nistraigunyo bhava. Remove your clothes. This is easier to understand and is very difficult to understand. Nistraigunyo. Arjuna, be without the gunas. But there he hasn't said be without the gunas and become what? Because you don't become, you be. Be and become are different. And be cannot be described. So stop becoming is the advice. And you will be is not advised because it is an automatic thing. Remove the dirt is an advice. You will be clean. That is automatically understood because you are clean. The dirt is an external thing. So Swarupa Pratisthita Chiti Shakti is Kaivalya. Now there is one critical last point at this, and that is Such a yogi who through his Sanyama has reached a point where he reached to the Dharmamegha Samadhi, became Ishvara Shakti Yukta, and then went beyond it, is now no more existing as something, but he is the one who is not affected by the guna. But at any point of time, if that principle, now we can't call a yogi as an individual, that principle which has gone beyond the Prakriti decides to reappear in the Prakriti, then he knows the whole process because he has gone back through the same process. And that is why at any given point of time, if he decides he can disturb the equilibrium and come back into the Prakriti, we call it as avatar. While coming down again, why would he come down if he has already gone up? He would come down for his original inherent compassionate nature. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata srujami aham janmami aham srujamyaham. Sruja, take some of the gunas, come back. While coming back, he may decide what he would like to be. So if he would like to take some qualities which are akin to a god called Shiva, he will be called Shiva Avatar. That is our fallacy. Yeah, he has taken some of the characteristics of Shiva, but he is beyond Shiva. All the controlling principles of the gods of the universe are delimited by the Maya. He is beyond Maya. But if he has to come into Maya, then he has to take one of those avatars. So they take avatara and come back. Another small point, while going back, while coming down, Prakriti has taken millions of billions of years to come to human being. There was nobody, then there was a big bang, whatever you call it. Then there were Panchamahabhuta, gaseous clouds, the planets. Then they were very hot in the beginning. They become cooled down. Then slowly the Jala came, water, Akashad, Vayu, Jala, whatever, that whole thing happened. And then human beings. So while going back also, it should take so much of time. But the yogi, when he practices Sanyama, his going back is hastened very fast. Now, the last moment of reaching to that ultimate state, it may happen in a stage-wise manner. It is called Krama Mukti, but you do not know. Sometimes the jump can be so fast. It is called Sadhyo Mukti, instantaneous liberation. Who can do that? That is the prerogative of the learned masters who have gone beyond, and they are waiting to help these exalted souls or the yogis who have reached these frontiers and struggling to jump out because they are on the other side. They stretch their hand, hold the yogi and pull them on the other side. And that is what the Guru Tattva is. That is how the whole Sankhya Tattva Jnana with practical application, the only darshana with practical application tells us the whole process of how the yoga starts. What is yoga? What is Sankhya? What is coming down? What is going back? Iti Shri Patanjali Sankhya Pravachane Yoga Shastre Srimad Vyasa Bhashye Kaivalya Chaturtaha Kaivalya Pada Chaturtaha Samaptam. I must congratulate all of you, because the study of darshanas is not an easy study. This is a very short 133 lectures that we heard. A darshana takes a couple of years with an intense study on a daily basis for the whole of the day in the earlier years. In the modern world, nobody is interested into the real science or the metaphysics or the adhyatma. Everybody wants to do Adhyatma just for the show of it, maybe spending 5-10 minutes or attending some satsangas here and there. The burning desire for one to become one with the Almighty is to be found with rarity. So the amount of intellectual patience that is required to even sit and discuss and listen to these discourses or the discussions is not a small thing. There must be a punyam of the past births that you all contributed in this particular darshana. I'm thankful to all of you because you are a Mahesha Murti. The Shrota is a Mahesha Murti for the Vakta. The Vakta had no contribution in the entire discourse that was displayed here. He was only made as an instrument by the Lord. In the process, the sprinkles that came from this rain of Yoga Shastra must have drenched some of my tunics. And that is the gain that I have received while discussing Yoga Shastra. I am not an Acharya. I am not a master of this particular darshana, but it was a feeble attempt in the light of the great commentators. Today is the time to pay my gratitude to the Vyasam, the Vyasa Bhashya, the Martanda Vritti, Bhoja Raja, the Vijnana Bhikshu, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Krishnananda. All these commentaries together were brought in some form or the other, spoken by those great intellects. Whatever my little buddhi could understand it, I tried to assimilate it together and thought of distributing it with you all so that we together, Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvina Vadhitamastum. Let all our intellect be pragalbha by the knowledge of this, and at least an important milestone in Abhasa Avastha called Paroksha Darshanam. The entire 133 lectures was an attempt to give Paroksha Darshanam. A person has been completely explained about the chart. The map has been explained, but mind well, we have not moved a bit from the place where we are standing. If the map is rightly understood, this is the time for Shubhaste Panthanaha Santu. The onward march has to start now. Every day has to be spent in contemplation, mananam of what we have learned. What is Sanyama? How do I go about the Ashtanga Yoga? How can I employ it in my daily practice? How can I purify myself? How can I do my Chitta Shuddhi? How can I focus on my karma? How can I remain alert at every moment so that the rarity of the rare, the Manushya Janma that I have received, how it can be utilized for the real purpose? How can I hasten slowly my evolution towards the Almighty? That was the purpose of the whole series. My thanks, sincere thanks to Meenakshi ji, Himanshu ji, Pradeep ji for conducting it on time. They have taken a lot of labor in organizing this by praying to Patanjali Maharaj that let all be now effulgent with the required amount of strength of the knowledge so that we all undertake our spiritual sadhana with a serious note and move along its path. Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Sanjay ji, for this Patanjali Yoga Sutram sessions after our Upanishad, Kathopanishad sessions. Actually, it has helped us a lot in facing difficult situations, and also, when we are going through tough times. So this knowledge has really helped us. So I don't know how to thank you for this profound knowledge sharing with us every day. Forgive us for the mistake which happened from our side. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. Thank you very much for taking us to the glorious path. It was indeed what we call tough times we had passed through during the discourse period. Despite that, we could sail through with the grace of God and Patanjali Maharaj. The knowledge you imparted is immensely helpful and lead us to a peaceful life. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. I don't know how to express my gratitude towards your efforts to bring this knowledge, this divine, most divine knowledge to us. Although I have joined the discourse halfway through, still, I am dwelling on this every day. But I have started this only just started. It takes some time to get it fully digested and assimilated into me. The whole thing now the whole episode, I am seeing or crystallizing in one Gurudev. I was thinking about him today. When you started to conclude the session. Because Balachandra Menon, who was a brilliant journalist and who was writing about the independence, struggles of independence, and midway he thought, what is this sannyasis doing in the Himalayas? And he wanted to bring them and expose them to the world and disclose all the secrets about them. These people are not involving in independence struggle, the struggle which we have been going through for many decades, and these people have no role in fighting for the freedom. This is what he wanted to write. But when he approached to interview this sannyasa kula, then gradually it was something like a crystal of the salt went to the sea to measure its salinity. So he transformed himself into a sannyasi and he brought this knowledge to us. This is all what I can see when you concluded this. Being and becoming, actually, he became the Purusha, but he remained as a Purusha. He came back to his body and he took all the pain to give this knowledge to the world, starting from Pune with just 2 or 3 listeners of Gita. He started this struggle, which, now today more than 300 Chinmayas, international Chinmaya Sundays are there around the world. And we are happy to be part of it and have this knowledge through this mission. Hari Om, and thank you very much. You took a lot of trouble to bring this to us. Hari Om. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hari Om Sanjay ji. Thank you very much for the lectures, although it was really difficult for me to understand towards the end of it. So we'll wait for someone else to say, or else we can close the meeting.
Hari Om Sanjay ji, thank you so much. I tried reading the Patanjali Yoga Sutras with Swami Vivekananda many times, but I would always, the initial part with all the samadhis would be so complicated that I would give up, towards that part. But I think despite the limited understanding, I think the effort and the explanation from your side was so good that at least I was able to, really understand a little more. And of course, but it was really, really very clear. And so thank you so much. I mean, there's no words to thank you for. If I may ask a question or two just for the last, so you reached two stages where you said two things. The gunas go back to the Samya Avastha, and you also said something about Purusha. So that was a little unclear to me. And the second part was when you talked about Krama Mukti in stages, and we also studied till people going back to, Prakriti, right at that stage. So is that part of the stages, or just explain that, these two things, please?
Yeah, when gunas retire to their original abode, Swaswarupa Pratishtha, at that point of time, the second part of the statement automatically happens. When you say, I am clear of the dirt, the second part, that I am clean now, is already understood. Adhyavruta, there is Adhyahar. Similarly, for the yogi for whom the gunas have rested in themselves, naturally, the role of Purusha in giving Upabhoga through the gunas has also ended. So Purushartham has also samapta. Gunas have gone into Swaswarupa Pratishtha, and then does the yogi becomes the Purusha or not? These are very, very trifle questions that are remaining now. Because the question is, if one is not A, will he be B? That depends upon if A and B are different. Prakriti is working under the adhyakshata of the Purusha. Though Purusha is not directly involved in creating Prakriti because he is not a creator. Prakriti creates, but Prakriti cannot create without the presence of Purusha. Then what is the relation between Purusha and Prakriti? It is a mysterious relation. So that is why in Kaivalya also, Patanjali Maharaj doesn't say that he goes out of the Prakriti and becomes the Purusha. He just says that all the gunas ultimately rest in their original Samyavastha. That is the point itself where, since he is no more identified with the Prakriti because he is beyond the gunas, then at that point of time, what remains? Because once the gunas are transcended, what remains is Purusha only. Now, does he become Purusha? If he has detached himself from Purusha, then he will become Purusha again. But there is no activity in Purusha, so there is nothing like Purusha can be obtained or lost. These are relative words. So when we say that gunas rest in their Samyavastha and consciousness regains itself, regains means it is no more employed in giving sensuous experiences. So Purusha, Bhoga, Apavarga has ended. The game is over. After the game is over, what happens? There is no happening. That itself is game over. So this is something which slightly we have to stretch the imagination to understand. So it is a state, because the moment you say it is a state, state is always temporary. So that is how the Kaivalya or the moksha has been defined. So what is there then? There is only one presence. This is the closest statement we can make. Keval. Keval means one omnipotent. Now, this is difficult for us to imagine. Imagine the whole world, I am the only person. This is what our imagination can go up to. And it sounds very fearful. Oh, nobody is there. I am the only one. What will I do? Because this is limited thinking of ours. We have not experienced those states. It's like a tribal coming and suddenly watching television. I mean, he would not know what to do with it, because he would try to relate it to his tribal places and say that, oh, it is squarish. What is it? What do you do? Why? How the people are coming here in this? How they are talking to each other? It is beyond the understanding, because you cannot understand Purusha, Kaivalya, or going beyond Prakriti by being in Prakriti. You cannot understand what Delhi is by sitting in Bombay. You may imagine it. But going in Delhi, then you don't have to even talk, because you know. So by being a part of the Prakriti, these words that I'm speaking is a part of Prakriti. So being in Gunas, how can you describe going beyond Gunas? You can imagine only. So that is how the Kaivalya, that is why the last 34th Sutra ends there. As far as Krama Mukti is concerned, as we go back, there are souls or yogis who are riding slowly, step by step. This is called Pippalada Marga, one by one. First, after Chitta Shuddhi, of course. After Chitta Shuddhi, everybody's common journey. After Chitta Shuddhi, how fast we will move? Our Gurudev is a very, very great exception. We need to see Gurudev from that angle. He appears to have come just like a normal man, etc. But his speed of progress has been phenomenally phenomenal. Phenomenally phenomenal. Because it takes births and births and births. He achieved it in 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, whatever it is. Of course, the preparation was there in the past birth. Last few births he prepared. But the difference is that some of them go stage by stage, while for some, it is a very fast-paced progress. Now, for whom? What is the qualification? How? It is beyond the understanding. It is mystical. There are mystical ways, as they call it. Kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum shakti. So, you never know. There is Krishna Bhagavan coming, descending, and Kuchela coming and, becoming mukta, khalas. How? Because we don't know the play that is happening behind the screen. So Sadhya Mukti is one where instantly the person moves away. It's like Shambhavi Diksha. A person of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's caliber puts his hand or touches his chest of Swami Vivekananda and he goes into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Sir, it doesn't happen for everybody. It happens for a chela like Vivekananda. There were another 14 Shishyas. It didn't happen to them. So to whom, how, these are certain things only at a higher level one will come to know. So similarly, some of them just keep going and up to Prakriti level, and as a Prakriti laya they remain. Only at the Pralaya they go out of that. So there are only at the destruction. So it depends upon the upward movement beyond Chitta Shuddhi is entirely at the mercy of. That is why Ishwar Pranidhanatva, that sutram we saw. There is a soul guiding. Even Patanjali Maharaj has mentioned about it. We saw it in Sadhana Path, that in Samadhi Path, that Ishwara Tattva is constantly monitoring and helping us to move upwards. Ishwar Pranidhanatva. So that is why, in order to keep the urja, the energy, the virya to move upwards, there is a constant prayer that is answered. So that is why some of them have Pippalada Marga, some of them are Vihanga Marga. They fly like a bird, Paramahamsa. It is called Paramahamsa. He goes to Paramapada Prapti as a swan is flying to that end. Some of them are crawling like an ant, Pippalada Marga. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Dr. Sanjay ji.
Hari Om.
no words to express our gratitude. Just two questions. It might be out of the PYS subject. One is about like Perth Kafan what we says as a three things which might be imbalanced, and that's how it is like person get like diseases. So is it having any relations with like a Sattva Rajatama or something like that? Because that is also, if we have some Samyavasai within the body, then the person will be like all right and everything. This is one thing. And one thing is about like Bhagwan Buddha, we know about all the things and everything. But how come it is like, that is the always question in mind. I mean, why it was they haven't thought about like beyond Shunya?
The first question is this: the Tattva, the Vata Pitta Kapha, the Ayurveda concept. The concept of Ayurveda came through meditation only. That is why the whole thing has been again taken as a representation of three gunas. Ultimately, the body is gunatmaka. Panchamahabhautika Ashtadha Prakriti means what? Gunas only. So, what is the correspondent of each guna in the body? The bile, the flame, pitta, kapha, and the vayu has been made correspondent to the gunas, and based on that the body has been analyzed. So the approach of Ayurveda medicine is completely different than allopathic medication. The allopathy looks from the symptom, the complaint or the symptom, then they work on it. While Ayurveda works from the point of view of the causative factor, that is Vata Pitta Kapha, corresponding to the Sattva Rajatama. So that is as far as the basis of Ayurveda evolution based on the Sankhyan philosophy is concerned. Because Triguna has been accepted, Sankhya has been accepted in all the Indian darshanas. As far as the Buddha thing is concerned, Buddha himself never said about Shunyavada. Remember this. Buddha talked about nirvana. It was his way of naming the Kaivalya. So, Shunyavada is the theoretical aspect that was born by the subsequent followers of Buddha. The Mahayana Buddhism, the Mahayana Buddhist philosophers, Ashwagosha or others, they formulated this policy. They formulated this philosophy. For Buddha himself, whether he was believing in Shunyavada or not, we don't know. Because he all spoke in his original words was about nirvana. So it is like whenever a great soul has said something, like Veda. In Veda, all the Upanishads have declared the higher truths. But interpretation go to a different level, saying that to an extent, the Bhakti Shastra, well-known scriptures, they curse the Mayavadi. That means Advaita people. They said they are stupid. They are Mayavadi. They are Bhrashta. Yeah, this is not Maya. This is Krishna's land. So this is how the followers down the line may interpret it in that way. The founders, the Gargis, the Kashyapas, the Atri Rishi, or the Gautam Buddha, their own realization was they never spoke about it, or they smaller things. So that is why interpretation has given to this Vijnanavada. So Madhyamika, Sautantrika, Vijnanavadi, they have all interpreted in different ways. The way the Shad Darshanas are there. For example, the Purva Mimamsa says there is no Ishvara. If you look at the Jaimini Shastra, in Jaimini Samhita, there is no role of Ishvara. You don't need Ishvara. In Sankhya, pure philosophy, there is no Ishvara. While in Advaita, we say, oh, Ishvara is all. So, Ishvara is there or it's not there. Interpretation. But these are healthy differences in knowledgeable people. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Sanjay ji. Just a short thank you note for taking us through the journey of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And I remember we started in April 2000 at the peak of COVID period, and it's been almost 2 years. So the thought that strikes me the most pertinent here is the most synonymous shloka sutra of Patanjali Yoga Sutra is Yoga Chitra Vritti Nirodha. The same thing for the last 2 years for us. Our Chitta Vritti Nirodha has come through these Tuesdays lectures. So thank you once again, and we look forward to our next phase of this journey to continue. Thank you.
Sanjay ji, thank you very much. Thank you is just in words. It's beyond all that. I don't have much to say. Thank you.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji, can we have an idea as to what is the next text we are going to study?
Hari Om, I am just thinking about it. We have two options as per the names or the suggestions were given. The choice is between Brahma Sutra and Viveka Chudamani. Brahma Sutra is a scripture that is a philosophical and may appear more drier subject for some of us. I'm not saying that it is higher or lower. There is nothing higher lower in scriptures. Viveka Chudamani has an ability to go to lofty heights, at the same time can be brought to the day-to-day practice level. Brahma Sutra, to bring it to the day-to-day practice level is difficult because it is purely and precisely a discussion on the experiences at higher level based on the interpretation and the contradictions of Upanishads being explained there. For example, the Abhasa Bhashyam of Brahma Sutra talks about different types of Abhasa and the Khyatis. Now, this is pure, pristine, but a very high level philosophical discussion. So it may appear to be a little disconnect from our day-to-day practice of sadhana, because our sadhana is at a lower level. So between the two, my personal opinion, I may be wrong, but Vivek Chudamani can perhaps bring us closer to our. So we were just thinking, I was just thinking about Vivek Chudamani, but I would like to have everybody's opinion before I'm okay with both the granthas.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we will definitely, either of the texts or whatever you advise is fine, which will be a pleasure to hear you. I just thought I'd just ask Pradeep ji is, since we have just finished PYS and it's so based in Sankhya, would it be prudent to just have a glimpse of Sankhya Karika, because it's, the knowledge is so fresh. I don't know, I've not gone through that with your advice.
We can take Sankhya Karika also. If everybody agrees, I'm okay with it. I'm at your service, so not a problem. Because anything that you suggest and which we discuss is going to also enrich me. So I have my selfish adhyatmic interest in it. I'm okay with it if everybody agrees. Because Sankhya Karika itself is a good size grantha. It's a Prakarana grantha, so it will take some time. Of course, and in Sankhya Karika, especially of Gaudapada, you cannot get better commentary than Gurudeva anywhere, for sure. The height that Gurudeva, if you ask me, actually we should not discriminate, but if you ask me where Gurudeva has excelled, he has excelled everywhere. But again, it depends on individual. What has appealed me most of the Gurudeva's writing, it is this Aparokshanubhuti and this Gaudapad Karika. Gurudeva has gone, it's difficult to even describe at what level Gurudeva has taken this Gaudapad Sankhya Karika.